Architect conception.
Hey Nate, we gone vertical with this one. As another day resets up my fate designs, only have concerns when solution is needed. 365, you get that?
365, eyes on the prize. Night falls to sunrise. I got millions in my mind. 365, eyes on the prize. Night falls to sunrise. I got millions in my mind.
Timer activated, the price of paradise in my eyes. As another sunset builds another view of the fate design. Logic dictates the outcome because feelings believe you're senseless. Can't be closed-minded or short-sighted when handling business. Nothing instructing the past is tight in time because loss is cost. Death traps being sold in the silent too, those are false. Vultures stroking fears, feeding with greed, lust and need. Honor get in the way of profit from action, traits and deeds. Clock ticking, decisions made, vision played, nigga. You gotta be understand how this game is really played, nigga. Thoughts be taking time, intelligent planet only to produce. Seduced by this money while I'm always in pursuit, bitch.
Eyes on the prize. Night falls to sunrise. I got millions in my mind. 365, eyes on the prize. Night falls to sunrise. I got millions in my mind.
Establishment of position, the real and false always get separated. Stalked by definite hourglass where this currency is generated. On my timeline beneath the eye line, blueprint stand in line. Prime to be reaching the pinnacle with numerical on this grind. Optical on profit, moving upon to be starting to gain. The risk can outweigh the benefits, and nigga, that's simple and plain. Poisonous serpent is certain dirt, trying to disrupt the pace. Betrayal occurs during the heat of the sea when you on this chase. Understand the scales are always unbalanced, nigga. Movement made with patience and balance, nigga. Avoiding casualties when I'm in rotation with these states. Just tripling up my royalties and then I'm making my escape, bitch.
Eyes on the prize. Night falls to sunrise. I got millions in my mind. 365, eyes on the prize. Night falls to sunrise. I got millions in my mind. 365, 365. Millions on my mind. Can't stop or describe. Stop. No, I won't stop. 365.
Hey, peace, everybody. We are live now for another dope episode of Let's Get Activated podcast. This is your girl, Same. We are streaming live right now on YouTube and Facebook. You can also catch us on Gnarly FM, Waptor Music FM, Radio for Sayo, and Culture Shock Radio through the Village Global Network. So for tonight, we are on episode 172, everybody. I want to introduce, someone who I've been tapped in with for about a year now. We've got artist and music producer Nancy Steroids in the building.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going?
Hey, feeling good, feeling great. Everything's peace. How are you?
Great. I'm doing fantastic. Sami, I want to just say thank you so much for having me. Real big fan of the show and excited to get into it with you today.
Hey, thank you. I'm so humbled that you came on, and all the sharing that you also did as well, the drop that you did, because I don't ask people for drops, but, I appreciate it, it's definitely, all love.
Absolutely. All love indeed.
Definitely. So, we got to start with, we had to start it off, with some tracks that you did because you're a very versatile music producer, as we were kind of talking about behind the scenes. So, do you kind of want to talk about, 365 and Tonight?
Yeah. So 365, that actually, that was kind of an anomaly that was happening. So I'm a producer, right? And I do a lot of beats for a various multitude of artists. So one of my really good friends and really great artists, Dirty Low, he was the one that actually convinced me. He's like, "Hey man, you know what we need to do? We need to put out more of like an R&B kind of rap album," because I was doing a lot of lo-fi and a lot of chill hop kind of music. And I was worried actually to put it out, to be honest. I was like, I have kind of this niche that I'm going with, and then I just sell and work with other artists and push that music to their pages, and I do beats for them, where I didn't think about doing a whole album with the artists released as like a self-release. And Dirty Low was actually the guy that convinced me to put it out. And 365, I sent him that beat. I can't remember if it was on his birthday or what, but he called me back and said, "Man, we got to do something with this one. We got to do something with this one right here." And then there's another artist on the hook. Her name's Heather. But it took off, and people have been vibing to it ever since. And it's probably one of my favorite tracks.
Fun fact, that's when I first tapped into you, when you came out with the Nancy Steroids EP. Yeah, that's when I first got introduced to you. So that was, in 2023, so you had, this track, Time, you had all these, so that's when I first, met you. So there we go.
Yeah, that is wild, because that album opened up so many more avenues and so many connections, like yourself. And I thought it was just so wild to see how well it streamed and how many people were actually listening to it and still do. It's just really incredible. It was such a change up, and like for myself, like I said, I was so nervous to release something that was with all these different artists on it, and out of my channel, kind of in a sense, is a self-release with amazing artists. So I was shocked that people tapped in the way that they did.
Yeah, but it was definitely dope. And then, we had Tonight that was playing.
Yeah. Oh, and Tonight. So I released a small EP out of nowhere called Because Summer. It was summer, and it was kind of chill house music. Another change up after volume 1 with 365 and all of those tracks. I decided, why don't we change it up again, see who taps in with this. And I did Because Summer because summer. It fit the vibe, it fit the mood, it fit whatever I was inspired to do. And I feel like as a producer, I'm kind of lucky to be able to tap into different channels and different feelings and release music now the way that I do, with not being locked into a niche kind of market. So I can release stuff that I feel is just what I'm feeling, what I want to express, what I want to show as an artist in a sense, as well as a producer, and put it out. So I did Because Summer, which was just a short summer EP, and which inspired me to then do some more chill house music, which led me to Tonight. And Tonight is probably one of my favorite tracks in the chill kind of EDM genre that I've released so far. And it's actually, I've gotten so much more feedback on that song itself than a lot of others. And every time people connect with the music, and every time they reach out, and it's always so much positive energy, and like it's awesome to hear. It's cool that your music touches so many people, and it gets out the way that it does. And I love how people connect with it and share it. And it was just another summer kind of vibe song, and then just everyone's been grooving to it all summer, so it's been great.
Yeah, definitely. And you coming from Chicago, home of house
Oh
music.
yeah,
So there you go.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm hoping I do everybody like in paying homage the correct way, you know.
Definitely. So when was that moment when you decided to become an artist and producer? Like what got you into doing that?
So music has always been something that's just been a passion of mine, and something that's always been the way that I can connect and kind of my outlet, you know. Um, Lucky enough to get into it at an early age. I always wanted to play the piano. I always wanted to play the guitar when I was really young. Maybe like I was probably like 9 or 10 years old. I started playing a trombone of all instruments, and so did the whole band thing, and went up from there and just kind of picked up little instruments along the way. And I always wanted to just do it. I just did, and I actually never knew how to go about it or what to do with it. I struggled a lot, actually, thinking, oh, okay, well, not knowing much about the industry and not knowing much about
Mhm.
how, like, where you can fit, because there's so many different genres, or not genres, so many different jobs, so many different roles, you know, within the music industry, and you don't know exactly where you fit. And if you're not in it, you think, oh, okay, there's artists, okay, and then there's maybe like a mixing engineer or something. Uh, or there's just studio musicians, and so you don't really know where you can fit. So when I was getting into production and stuff, I didn't know that like producers as producers could do all these different genres and all these different vibes. And I thought, you know, a producer was more limited than it was, and it was around I guess 2020, COVID and all that other stuff that was going on. um, like most people, kind of got away from a lot of noise and kind
Mhm.
of focused in on what what really mattered and what was important to them. And at that point I decided, hey, you know, I really want to give this music thing more of a shot and like focus on it. I'm always passionate about it. I just want to see what if, or like what can happen if I give it some more effort, you know. So I really just, I sat down, I focused, I said, I'm not going to do this as a hobby. I'm going to do it as a real thing. And ever since then, I've connected with so many artists, so many promoters, so many great engineers and other producers all across the globe. Had a lot of collaborations from within the United States, but then all over the world. And it's been an incredible journey in the short time that it has been. Uh, um, to just connect with all these people and see how passionate and how talented so many people are that are not necessarily like undiscovered, but just they're there, and their platforms aren't maybe as big as they are. But
Mhm.
with all of that, I think it's crazy to see that how many people connect again with the music, and things of just making a small decision a couple of years ago, saying, you know, let's go all in, let's take this seriously, and let's do it, and then just kind of go up from there. Looking back at those first beats, I was like,
Mhm.
man, I don't know why I thought I had a shot at any of this, but now I'm like, okay, I'm getting it. But every day, you know, you just build and you just get better, and you know, you improve, and you see the improvement over time. And when you talk to all these other creators and all these artists, you see them in the same light when you go back to their first pieces of art, if you will. It it's crazy to see the growth when you stay consistent, and you just try to work, you know. And when you do, it really does make a difference. You won't notice it day by day
Mhm.
yourself, but if you take your first you know, your episode, your first interview, your first track, anything, it's like playing a guitar, you know. It's your first time you pick it up, you're going to be like, oh, okay. Then you see the incremental growth over time when you look all the way back. It's it's insane to just see that you can just make one small decision which can make a huge impact. So don't sleep on your own decisions, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a thing that's you're passionate about and you want to go, and it's just only been a couple of years, just go for it, do it.
Definitely, definitely. Because, I've seen the evolution of so many people, even people here, that are in the chat right now tapping in. Everybody can resonate with this because we all had to start off somewhere.
Absolutely.
We might have started off not being all that great, but man, a lot of us evolved into some very dope characters, and I don't say dope lightly. So when I say dope, I mean it's dope. Okay. I don't use dope loosely, you know. So I'm definitely proud of just seeing the progress and the consistency of many people, and like you, I know you built on yours because I'm sure there's a strong creative process that you got going on. And I even see in the studio, you got a whole like Zen type of vibe going on. So you got to describe that.
Oh man. So LED lights, probably one of my favorite things ever invented. I started with a laptop and like a really small keyboard. And I had nowhere to really set up. I was in an apartment with my girlfriend at the time. And it was set up on the coffee table and plug it in, have some headphones, and that's it. And the setup of that and taking it down every night or trying to stay consistent and trying to work on these things, it was really it's not conducive to a creative environment. So I started there. Then I built this little table out of like prefab table legs from like a Home Depot with like an MDF board. I didn't have any tools or anything either. So it was the worst construction you could ever think of, but it was just a board with some legs. Had that, and then kind of built my setup from there to now getting my own space and again reinvesting everything I've done in the couple of years that I started with music and production. So any of the money made from streaming or beats or any of that, I just put it back in because I want to make sure that I had a space to actually create and make sure that I could make the art that I wanted to. So in that it's still a work in progress, and it's just started, like I said, on a coffee table in the smallest space possible to, building it out, getting merch, getting your space conducive for a creative environment. And so it's just been built out since then, and it's just been going up.
It definitely has, because I even see like on your Instagram, when you're posting yourself, playing your beats, you're in the studio, of course. So it's always like eye catching and colorful, so you definitely got it. You're not just doing the sound, but you're making something that people are going to look at,
Absolutely. Absolutely. The visuals are so important, more or less, and I mean, you know that very well. And it's something that's also attractive about your pages too, because your visuals are on point. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, if you're going to scroll, you're going to see first before you even hear anything that comes out.
Right. So then they going to see it and then they'll be like, oh, well, let me tap in. So it's very genius planning when you think about it,
Well, thank you.
Like on everybody, have that visual looking good. And then people will definitely be like, oh, I need to watch a little more and see what's going on, because I like stuff to look nice too. I'm like one of those people. I'm very picky.
You and me both, man. It's people seeing the picture of my desk and they're like, oh no, it's not really that clean all the time. I'm like, oh, it's kind of like an OCD kind of thing in a way. It's like everything is so particular of like how it has to be, but it keeps your mental energy just so clean and keeps you focused. So, but that's just how I work.
It does. And like, what is your like creative process for the different sounds? Because, I've listened to so much of your music and it's so versatile and you can feel all these different types of moods. And then you have, certain titles on these songs that obviously will match the mood. So what is your creative process for that? Like, is it just from like life experiences or what is it?
That's a really good question. It's, the creative process for me, I mean, like I typically start, when you speak of sounds, I always start with just like a piano, and if it sounds good on a piano, it'll sound good pretty much on anything else. That's kind of where I start, but I mean, a lot of things have an effect, influences, of course, genres of music, the artists that I listen to, and then honestly, the weather. The weather is huge. Kind
Mhm.
of like I said, like because summer, I was so in a summer vibe, and I said, this is kind of what I'm feeling right now, and it's sunny out. I do a lot of lo-fi. We have a lot of rainy days, a lot of cold
Mhm.
weather. It's cold here
Mhm.
most of the year, as you know. So it's those chill, cozy kind of vibes that inspire that, and it just kind of goes from there. But yeah, I start with pianos. If it sounds good there. And when it comes to picking different sounds aside from the piano,
Mhm.
it's always it's just the trial and error process, to be honest. I mean, sometimes it's like, oh, I know I want to use this. I want to use this. I like a lot of reverse sounds, like a lot of reverse guitars, and a lot of like soft synth pads. Um, but aside from that, I mean, sometimes it's like I said, trial and error. I just, I'll go through some sounds on a library of my instruments, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, that sounds good. Or like, hey, it sounds cool, but like, how do we get it to sound bigger? Or how do we get it to sound like just like a little meaner? Do we need to play with EQ, or is it a whole different instrument altogether? So yeah, that's kind of how I start off everything, and then just kind of take it from there.
Got you. Everything, always sounds, clean and on point. Because I also
Thank
noticed,
you.
there's Cadillac engineering going on. So are you like doing like engineering also, like in addition?
So aside from Cadillac engineering, I do engineering myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I do mix, and I do that as a service for other artists and bands and things like that. But Cadillac engineering is kind of more or less a collective of artists and producers. So Dirty Low, Jay Vengeance, myself. Um, we're all kind of in this Bandit Understand It. We're all in this Cadillac Engineering kind of like a label or group, however you want to notate it. But it's just a group of the artists and producers that we've been really connected with, and we support each other. And like you said when we were talking before the show, on how the circles are, it's so small, and it's it's a lot of connection, and it's a lot of support to help each other grow and get our art out there.
Yeah, but that's a good thing to have support, like
Absolutely.
supports everything, and it doesn't
Yeah,
take a lot to support.
not at all. It's all free. Just like, share, comment, any of that stuff on socials. Easy enough. That's all you ask for.
Definitely. But y'all can buy too. Now let's
Yeah.
let's say,
Absolutely.
I'm just saying I'm big on that. You know why? Because I always say that because it's like, as we know, because I know you've kind of had a post about this before too. You know how these streaming platforms, they just rip off artists like
Yeah.
like nobody's business. So that's why I'm like, man, at least go ahead and buy it, buy it and give, some more, money back to, you guys for all the hard work that you do, that you put in.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah. So that post, I mean, that you're referring to, there's so many artists that have been kind of like, I guess, a victim to it of um, like this crossfire with the record labels and the DSPs, and it's kind of sad in a sense because there's so much art that's being removed, and
Yes.
it shouldn't be, and it's all for artists that can't really you can't do anything to defend yourself about it. You can't say like, this wasn't due to my, like, it wasn't of any of my doings. It was something that happened either with AI or just playlisters that are doing certain things that they're trying to take certain artists down, and it's a shame, but thankfully that there's multiple platforms, and not every platform is like that. So
Hmm.
you can still access all the music somewhere, which is great.
Yeah.
It's just sad that you can't go everywhere with it.
Right. That's true. What's your favorite place for people to access like your like beats and such from you?
Oh man, so if you're looking for straight just beats, I have a Buy Beats page, and I also have a BeatStars page. So that's for any artists looking to tap in and work. Otherwise than that, you can just hit me up with a DM. But if you're just looking for any sort of music just to listen to, check out Apple Music, check out Spotify, check out literally any of the DSPs. My favorite one would probably be Apple.
Hmm.
Spotify is great because you get to see, the numbers, the listeners, the streams, and you can kind of see which is the most popular right away. But it's really whatever your preference is, and yeah, that's it.
Got you. And and I have to ask you, where does Nancy steroids come from?
Man, everybody
That's a
asks me
catch. I
that.
need to know. Hey, it's catchy,
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Everyone asks me that, and the answer is always a huge letdown. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's a huge letdown because I'm all about positivity and all those things, and I didn't ever want to like promote drugs or any of that other stuff. Like it's never in my messaging, and it's steroids in a sense, and there's a capsule, but the way it came about is honestly it was just a texting typo. I was texting
Really?
someone and Nancy steroids came out and I was like, why how does it even autocorrect to do that? Anyways, this was years before I even started to get into production or want to use a name. But what happened was I I had that texting typo and I never forgot it. And this was years, I said, like years before. And I was like, I never forgot that. So like maybe no one else will either. So once you
Mhm.
hear it, I was like, maybe that would be something that's memorable enough that, it'll just take off. So that's where it came from. It just stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. And because I was thinking steroids, like, okay, hyping everybody up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like some kind of energy. That's what I was thinking. I said, oh, this
Well,
is catchy. I was like, I said, I'm gonna definitely ask.
yeah, no, everyone asked that, and I like my beat tag, for my beats is this beat on roids. So like, yeah, it's amped
Mhm.
up, it's strong, it's going. White noise in the chat. This beat on roids. Yeah, absolutely. He
Yep.
knows. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's it's funny how it came about, but I never forgot it. So I'm hoping no one else does either.
Yeah, and it's a name that most likely no one else has used. Some people that pick a name and about 10 other people got it, and then it's a whole dispute
Oh yeah.
on who can have the name and such. So there you go.
Absolutely. That's a little bit of like a secret sauce right there, to be honest, because all the handles and everything are available. Don't steal them, please.
Right. Don't
um,
take them.
yeah, but yeah, no, they're there, and it really did make that part easy.
Definitely. And Miss Eyes, she asked if you have a band camp by chance.
I do not have a band camp. I'm sorry. I need to get on Bandcamp. I really do. I really
Yeah,
do.
some organic buys there too. So that's a good
Yeah,
question, Miss Eyes. You know, definitely. So
absolutely.
so what do you have like going on for the rest of 2024? Because we're like what, 4 more months left in the year?
Yeah, we got a four. Yeah, wow, it's flying. It is absolutely
Yes,
flying.
yes.
um, yeah. So Dirty Low and I have, excuse me, a new album coming out in a couple weeks. So that should be coming out soon. Really excited for you guys to hear that. It's going to be awesome. It's some like if you're familiar with Dirty Low's music and you're familiar with my beats in general, um, you're not gonna want to miss it. So you'll see the promotion around it. But I'm doing stuff with Dirty Low. I've got one other album in the works for the end of the year, or an EP, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that, I'm focusing a lot on sync music, so music for film and TV. So I've been focused on that a little bit lately, and not so many just beats. So that's what I've got going on for the rest of the year. So it's that and of course preparing for next year, where I like to come out of the gate running.
Wow, wow. So
Yeah.
do you have because I know like with collaborations and such, so what would be the
Yeah.
process if an artist wanted to reach out and collaborate with you? Because they may do it. They may be doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Anytime you want to collab, just hit me up in my DMs. Instagram is probably the best way to get a hold of me. Um, that's really it. You can reach out on my Buy Beats page. You can reach out on my BeatStars page, and if you'd like. And so all my messaging is open there, and I do check it. So please reach out. Otherwise than that, hit me up on Instagram. That's where I'm most responsive. You can follow me on TikTok as well. But yeah, any of my DMs, just hit me up.
Yeah, that's definitely, perfect. So, I got to get back into the sync really quick because that's really dope. So, what made you decide to get into like the sync licensing?
So Sync kind of came about with more of like the lo-fi kind of vibes. And a lot of people, when they listened to my albums, they said, wow, man, your music just sounds so cinematic. Or I can see this in a movie. I can see this on TV. This just makes me feel so many things. I can see the movies in my head when I listen to these albums. And I was like, well, then why don't we do that? Why don't we actually just put the music to the movies? So yeah, I've done some small things. I did one for another podcast show. And it was like a horror kind of thing, and then I did one small thing for like a butterfly infomercial. But otherwise than that, it's just something I've started getting into, so brand new to it, but it is a big focus of mine now.
That's really exciting. That's definitely exciting. And are you thinking of maybe like attaching like visuals onto some of the tracks as well in the future?
Absolutely, absolutely. I don't feel so much as myself as that I'm
Mm-hmm.
like a camera type of person. Being a producer, I like to be kind of behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So the kind of visuals that I'd have to definitely collab with either dancers, artists, performers, anything like that, and just kind of get that going. But there's definitely a lot of visuals that I would still like to do for even songs that I've released previously. I feel like they do speak to film and TV, that and there's a lot of emotion in them that pictures would just draw it out even more. So yes, I definitely I want to approach that.
Definitely, because I even noticed even with some of like the cover art, it's like some of the cover art is telling like a story too. So I'm like,
Absolutely.
okay, he's like a visual person. He got something going on here.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, an album cover can tell you all you need to know about the song usually, you know? And if you look at it, you know, like say if you're gonna look at a death metal album, it's typically not like a teddy bear, you know? But I mean, it could be ironically, but it's all up to interpretation. But visuals definitely speak to everything that the music is.
Definitely. And within like this industry, you know, being a producer, you know, sometimes producers don't get appropriate credits, you know, when they're working on various albums. So what do you think can be something that could correct that? Or what would you like to see better within this industry on that?
Oh man, I mean, if the communication or you know, just there's a lot of egos to be set aside, to be honest. I mean, and it's kind of a weird game in the sense that where, you know, producers they put a lot in up front to get their sounds, to get their equipment, and make make like the track itself. But then the artist is also putting in a lot of time and money into promotion and shows and doing all of that. Where some artists, they just believe they don't need to pay for beats. There are producers out there that will give beats away for free. Um, and if you're one of those guys and that's what you do, that's what you do. But
Mhm.
you need to just credit them, if anything. Like if you get a beat and you rip it off of YouTube or something, which you shouldn't be doing, but if you do that, just credit them. I mean, just give credit where credit is due. You know, it's important to just do that. Even if it's just splits,
Mhm.
you know, something like that. It's not a lot of money, you know.
Mhm.
It's more or less if you're credited. That way you can say, hey, I did this. It was me that produced this track, and you know you can show the work on there. So, and I know a lot of artists that are also producers, and those are some of the artists that still don't credit their producers, which I think is absolutely wild. Like
Yeah.
you're in that same boat, you understand it, and you know exactly how that feels. And they're the same ones that say like I don't give any free beats, but then they're going around turning saying give me a free beat, you know.
Right.
Where I think that's it's just not right, you know. Just do what's right, be kind, like do the right thing, and you know, give credit, like I said, where credit is due,
I
at the
agree.
bare minimum, at the bare minimum.
I agree 100%, you know, the splits, all of that. And like the credit, like it's not hard to do no credit. When you are uploading your music and everything, it clearly asks you the credits so you can put it in
Absolutely.
there. So it's no excuse. I know all of that. So it's like, nah, we're not playing
Yeah.
that game. We're not giving nobody no credit. It's not,
No,
it ain't it.
absolutely. Absolutely. Credit your producers. And I mean, when, you know, when when and if they find out that you did use a beat that you didn't pay for, or you used without their permission, I mean, it's going to come back to you that either it's going to get taken down or there's going to be some sort of dispute. And nobody wants to do that, especially when it comes to art, because it's so personal. You know, art is so personal, especially, and I mean, you can say like, hey, I made this beat in 5 minutes, and it's like, oh, you didn't really do too much work, or it's a basic trap beat, or whatever it is. You know,
Mhm.
you just need, like I said, you just need to credit people because it's still art, it's still part of who they are, and it's contributing to your art as well. So, you know, make it a cohesive experience, make it, you know, make it something that everybody wants to be a part of and proud of. You know, you don't want to have like a hit song and be like, oh yeah, well that guy is really just not a nice guy. You know.
Right,
Yeah, so it's
right.
just, and like we were talking before, like the music world is so small, so
Yes.
small, and word gets around, and there's so many even big names, you know, and it's not necessarily even on them, but sometimes it's a label, you know, that really didn't do right by you, and that's a shame because it just shouldn't be. The music industry is hard enough to navigate that you don't need people that are shady, you know.
Definitely. I agree. This is a very small world. Like we were saying, it's not 6 degrees of separation, it's 1 degree of separation.
Absolutely,
So if you're doing
absolutely,
dirty, somebody gonna find out the next day.
absolutely, absolutely. It'll
So
get
just
around.
just do right, just do
Hmm.
right, do right, and everybody can be happy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
mean, like you said, I mean, you're a manager. You understand this. You know how it goes. It's there's some people out there that just don't. They're not ethical, you know, and it's just not right.
Nope, it's not. And we're not supporting anything non-ethical. So
Absolutely.
it just is what it is. You got to keep it genuine and ethical with me. That's just how I roll. It is,
Likewise.
it is what it is. So I got to also point out your shirt. You have do you have some merch thing going on? Like the Nancy
Uh,
Steroids merch?
yes, new merch will be available soon. So, I definitely am getting new merch, and I will be posting about that. So stay up on my channels, and you'll see what's coming. I got a lot of really cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff coming.
That's great. See, like you said, stay up on the channel. So everybody, only thing you guys simply do is follow at Nancy Steroids and everything is there. Literally.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all there.
Literally. Even, I'm gonna say it again, read the bio, everybody, because you got links in the bio that'll lead you to everywhere you need to go to. Beat stars, all of that. It's all there. Definitely. So final question, for you for tonight. What legacy does Nancy Steroids want to leave behind?
Oh man, that's wow. That's a deep question. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, you know, I think music as a whole. This is actually something that I've thought about. So I'm surprised it's kind of hard for me to put together the words that to answer this. But I just want, you know, it would be cool to just, aside from music, just to be a good person and be everything that, you know, I can be for my family. Um, but in regards to music, just to have something that is going to be kind of timeless, you know. Um,
Mhm.
there's a lot of trends in music, and there's a lot of things that come and go. And the music that I like to produce and make is just something that you can actually think about. You can listen to over and again. Something that's thought provoking and that just provides positive experiences. Um, there's a lot of negativity in the world, and there's a lot of stuff going on right now that, you know, is a huge concern for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And you know, to shed light on these negative things and controversies, but in a positive manner, to say like, what can we do about this, or like, how can we be better, and convey that message through music. Like I said before, like nothing about like nothing negative, no negative vibes. You know, not anything that's like not like, avoid condescending lyrics and things that are you know, disparage anybody. And that's the kind of music I want to leave behind in terms of a legacy that people can say like, okay, this is good. Um, it's going to make the world a better place in some sense, and just to help people keep a positive mindset.
I feel that. That's peace, love, and positivity there. I feel that.
Absolutely. Always.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, before we close it out, we have one more track that we play as closing it out,
Yeah.
called Over You. Do you want to kind of talk about that track?
Well, I mean, it was just kind of in the vibe and in the same vein of of summer, and
Mhm.
it just kind of it just felt like um, I, I wish there was more to say on it, to be honest, but
Mhm.
it felt like what I needed to express at the same time. So the vocals are a vocal sample, so they're
Mhm.
not mine, but they conveyed the emotions and everything of me and Summer at the time, and I just thought it was kind of a catchy summer relaxation thing, and I know that summer there's a lot of like relationships that are either like at the end of summer, they start to cuffing season comes along, right? Or there's
Mhm.
college or high school relationships, they disband after summer and things like that. But it was something just like I felt like everyone could relate to. So.
I feel that. I feel that. And before, we close out, with that, are there any shout outs that you want to give?
Everyone that is listening, everybody that has tuned in and tapped in tonight, like, thank you all. Sameh, you, of course, thank you so much for having me. It's been a complete
Welcome.
honor and humbled, obviously. Like, just it's been so great. So thank you so much for that. Everybody, again, tuning in. A special shout out to Dirty Low, who has always been a huge supporter of mine and love working with him. Please check him out. He's a great, fantastic artist. Especially the tracks we've done together. It's you won't be disappointed, I promise. And yeah, just thank you everybody, everyone that's supporting.
Awesome. I definitely, want to give you a huge shout out, humbly for coming on to the show, having a great
Thank you.
conversation. You're welcome, sharing great art and, being supportive yourself. And, as we say, the support continues. It doesn't stop from here. And you're always, welcome back as well onto the stage.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And, definitely shout out to everybody who's tapping in on the live, who's networking, who's building, sharing. We both definitely appreciate it, and definitely be sure, if you haven't already, definitely give Nancy Steroids a follow. Stay tapped in. He's got a lot of, great things upcoming. So, it truly has been, activated. I want to wish everybody peace and love. And we're going to close it out with Over You. Let's go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.